Hello everybody and welcome to Mark Goldbridge, going for Goldbridge. We're back. I hope you're all doing very well. I've not done one for a couple of weeks, but we need to get this back up and running. And without further ado, I'm going to hit one of the biggest questions I've had this week, which is, we've heard that you're leaving the United stand, which is obviously something that is basically started me off in the YouTube world. And it all comes from, to be fair, when I was playing on FIFA on Mark Goldbridge That's Football a couple of weeks ago, and someone said, "Are you leaving?" And I said, "Sooner than you think." And you know, part of it was a joke, but part of it was probably how I've been feeling for most of lockdown, to be honest. And there's multiple things that are sort of coming towards me in relation to this. And I think that this video either won't go up or it will become a big spew of therapy in relation to what I think of this amazing genre that's been built in the fan media world, because it's not just the United stand. And actually my resentment towards it. So it may never go up. So I might just be talking to myself here. But first of all, just very, very quickly, lockdown I think is hopefully not going to be with us for much too long, but you just never know. We thought that in March, we thought that in November, and it was back again. I think the big thing I'm struggling with at the moment, and I don't know what you're up to, Street Wars, I call it. And it's not like Streets of Rage, the classic Mega Drive game where you go toe-to-toe, a bit of a Poundland Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. It could turn into that. But basically what it is nobody's got anything to do, so everyone goes for a walk, and everyone seems to go for a walk at the same time. And around where I live, the pathways are a little bit narrow, and there's busy traffic. So you start walking down a road, and you'll see another family or another old couple walking towards you, and it's like a standoff as to who's going to stop, who's going to let somebody past. And manners seem to just go out the window, and I just spend most of my time just tutting and eyeballing old people, and, you know, almost half contemplating making them walk on a road when there's a bus coming the other way, which is just, it's just thoughts in my head. Nothing's ever going to happen about it. But if it was John, maybe. But no, it is. You know, to be fair, I think people are just. I think people are becoming more and more pissed off and frustrated, and there's not a lot you can do. And Street Wars is the thing at the moment. You know, walking around the streets, even around the fields, I was like, what are they doing here? And then I realised, well, they've got as much right as I've got to be there as well. So apart from that, everything's going quite well. I think we've just got to look forward and appreciate the situation that we're in. If you're fortunate enough not to have had people hit by this ridiculously infectious and debilitating, or whatever the word is, pandemic, which has affected everybody in many different ways. And I suppose that brings me on to what I'm about to talk about then. So leaving the United stand, I'm not going to mess about with this too much. Will I leave the United stand? Well, yeah, I will at some point, and it could be sooner than people think. And I don't really, I sort of wish I hadn't replied to it, because I don't want. You then get people saying, please don't leave, United stand, this, that and the other. And I just think, you know, the last thing I would want to do is just, well, what I want to do is just be honest and say that I absolutely despise so much of this fan genre. And it's not even the fan genre. I absolutely despise most of the industry that exists around football. It's I don't think anybody ever realises that, yeah, the United stand's big, and, you know, a lot of the things I do are big, but, you know, if you put yourself in the public eye, you've got to accept that you're going to get kickback. You are going to get that. That's going to happen. I don't know whether some of the kickback is justified, because a lot of it is lies. It's persistent. It's trying to take you down. It's trying to impact on you. It's trying to, you know, demean what you are. But what people don't realise is, and I think this is the biggest thing I always say, is that I'd never class myself or anyone who works in this genre as a victim, but nobody ever asked people to watch. Like, if you think about the United stand and people go, they don't represent real fans. What's a real fan then? Can I have the real fan book? I didn't get that in my Christmas stocking this year. What is a real fan? I'll have a look through it and I'll see if I can tick myself up against it. Because sometimes I feel a real fan is somebody who was born within 5 minutes of Manchester United's football ground, Old Trafford, and basically, win, lose or draw, stands outside with a scarf saying, yes, everything's fine at this football club. Is that not somebody that also gets slated for being pro-Glazer? It's very difficult in relation to Manchester United, because it's a toxic fan base that you cannot have an opinion without getting slagged off. Basically, there are many. The funny thing is, in this, when it comes to Manchester United, it might be like it with other clubs. There are actually people that really despised what the United stand was at the start, but you have a conversation with them, and you end up actually, I wouldn't say mates, but you end up actually getting on with them quite well, because they actually have a conversation with you. And I think within this industry, I often get asked, You know, why don't you do videos with Gary Neville? Why don't you do videos with Rio Ferdinand? Why don't you do it with such and such and such and such? And I'm like, because you know what? When you actually scratch the surface away from what a lot of you see, this is a world that is riddled with bitterness and jealousy and fear. People do not want to work with certain people because, oh, you know, that might not go my way, or I don't like them, they're not from Manchester, I don't like them, I've heard he doesn't like them, so he must be an idiot. And I'm like, you know what, I've had this throughout my life, and it's scary. It's absolutely scary. I'm going to wander off onto loads of streets here because I may not put this video up, but people in life, whether it's the football industry, whether it's law enforcement, whether it's banking, whether it's families, whether it's anything, people just believe they're right. They believe that their opinion's right. They believe that their moral compass is pointing north. They agree. They think that they're all about equality, loyalty, trust, respect. And the reality is very, very few people are. I struggle with it every day, and the principles I like to live by are respect, trust, and manners. I think they're very important, and you know, this is why I have a very close circle of friends, because if someone lets me down, I'm sort of like, I'm sort of out of that, really. I'm not interested in that, and it's very hard to be that sort of person anyway, and I fall foul of it. Everybody falls foul of it, but they don't think that they do. And the worst thing for me is that, you know, I've got friends who do something wrong, and there's people who would tell you this, and it's happened in the last few weeks. They'll do something wrong and they'll want my support on it, and I'll say, you know what, I will support you to sort this out, but you were wrong. And they'll go, yeah, but you don't like that person and I've done that. And I'm like, no, you're wrong what you've done there, and you need to sort that out, because ultimately I will always help you and I will always support you because you are my friend or you are my family member. But if you do something wrong, I'm a fucking idiot in relation to my moral compass, in relation to respect and equality and everything else like that. I'm a fucking idiot if I know you've done it wrong and I just go, you know what, you're part of the circle, you're fine. But so many of us do that, whether it's with friends, whether it's family. And I've seen it, you know, I remember being at an awards ceremony right at the start of the United Stand, and it's quite a funny story. Well, you might not think it's funny, but I was at this awards ceremony and I knew we'd won. I knew we'd bloody won it. I knew the United Stand had won, because the way the voting system works, you could sort of tell off socials and everything like that that we had the most votes. And when we didn't win, I'd had a few beers and I was like, I made it very obvious that I wasn't very happy about it. I was quite vocal about it, and I was walking down the stairway with somebody who'd been in. I think I tweeted it out as well, and it went a bit south. But I was walking down the stairwell with somebody, and two people in front were like, "Yeah, well done, well done." I went, "Yeah, well done. It must feel great to cheat." And it just went off in the stairway. Not in a physical way, but it was like, what are you doing? I was like, well, obviously I can't prove it, but I hope you've got a big vat of Horlicks to help you sleep tonight, you cheats. And it all went a bit south. But I just have that in me that I don't like injustice, and I don't like people who take the piss. I don't like bullies. But you know what? I've had it in so many jobs. I've gone for jobs in the past, not in this arena, where people, you know, 3 people have gone for the job. I've put a load of work in, loads of work. I remember going for this job when I used to work in insurance years ago, and I did all this like research on like genetics. This was like 20 years ago, genetics and how genetics would link in, because I think it was like life insurance underwriting, quite well paid job actually. It was when I lived in Ireland, and I'd done all this background and work on genetics and future genetics and how this would have an impact on life insurance, because people just basically, you just get a questionnaire. Has anybody in your family had diabetes? Has anyone had cancer? Oh, you're high risk. Whereas, you know, you could actually, you know, map it further than that. And I had a presentation in my interview about this, and I knew for a fact I'd done the best interview, and I didn't get the job. And I didn't get the job because basically the boss knew my girlfriend's dad at the time, who used to be her old boss, and it was like I was never going to get the job. And it's like, you know, you go into those situations where you're always a victim of things that are out of your hands. And I think within bringing it back to the United Stand, because fuck knows where I'm going with this, but the reality is from day one to now, and you know, we have been very, very, very successful in relation to building a community which I'm really proud of, because I don't really give a shit about people who spread lies or say they hate us or anything like that, because you don't have to watch it. I find it funny that these people just they try to build a momentum with it. It's like, oh, you know, I constantly see, oh, Goldbridge and the negative stand, they're just negative, we need to kick them out of our club. Who are you? Who are you then to say we're not fans, kick them out of our club? Have you ever approached me and had a conversation with me? Not to threaten me up against the wall, you're going to punch me or something like that. Have you actually on the basic level of humanity, approach me to have a conversation to see how far apart we actually are in fans? Or is it you just don't like my face? Is it just because I'm not from Manchester? Is it because the United Stand's a big community and you didn't do it? What is it that drives this anger and aggression? Because I'll tell you what it can't be. It can't be that the United Stand drives negativity when all season, basically, apart from a little blip in the middle where there was a lot of uncertainty, and a lot of us thought Solskjaer was going to get the sack, it's been very positive and pro and loving what we're doing. So where is this negativity? Or is it linked into people who used to be on the channel, who aren't on the channel anymore, but you still, you attach us to that? And to be honest, a lot of it is based on bullshit. And this runs through the whole genre, basically, because there are people out there that won't, let me say me, it could be other people involved in the channel. They will not give us the time of day because other people in the industry over years and years have gone, they're a bunch of cunts, they're a bunch of this, they're a bunch of that, they're a bunch of wankers, don't speak to them. And that's fine if those people say that. They're telling lies. In my opinion, they're telling lies. But if I say to you, Dave, don't ever go on a dog walk with John, he's a bloody idiot. He doesn't pick his crap up. He doesn't brush his teeth. He swears. He hates women. He puts his Christmas tree lights up. That's actually true. Don't ever go on a dog walk with him. He's a dickhead. And then Dave goes, yeah, you're right. I'm not going to go on a dog walk with John. He's a dickhead. John may not be a dickhead. He might put his Christmas tree lights up, but he might not be a dickhead. But Dave takes my word that he's a dickhead and just decides John's an idiot. Don't work with John. Is that not bullying? Is that not victimization? Is it not something? Because that's what goes on in the genre I work in. Loads of people over the last few years, and I actually get on with some of these people now, but when you break those walls down, they'll say, well, we never worked with you because such and such said you did this. Such and such said you did this. And, when two people are saying it, you sort of believe it. And then you go, yeah, but maybe they're saying that because it's in their interest to lie about me. And this happens a lot as well. But it's appalling. It's absolutely appalling that there are people within the industry I work in, credible people, admired people, who don't have a moral compass because they believe what other people have told them and don't actually think that that person might be telling it because it's in their interests that you don't find out who the real person is. And you can have this across your life. It's a lesson for us all, because I do this all the time. I've got friends, I've got people I get on with, sometimes you think you get on with people in this industry and they stab you in the back. That happens a lot. It's one of the worst industries I've ever worked in. But I get on with a lot of people, and I will say to them, I know you don't like that person, but actually I'll make my own mind up on that. And I've done it with friends and I've done it with family as well. I'm not going to dislike somebody because you tell me that they're a bad person. If they've done something bad to you, then okay, maybe, but I still have to make my own mind up. I've learnt my lesson in life that you do not make your mind up on somebody because somebody else tells you that. There is always two sides to a story. This has happened in my family on very, very big things. It's happened with friends on very, very big things. Not the TV series Friends, but it did happen a lot on that. And it's happened in jobs that I've had as well. The worst thing you can do in life is make your mind up about somebody you've never met because your friend or family member or somebody else tells you, don't do this. It's total manipulation, and it exposes you as weak because you should always make your own mind up. And I have got friends who don't like other friends that I've got, and I'm just me. I'm like, look, I will talk to you and we will get on, and I will talk to you and we will get on. But what we won't do is I won't talk to you about them and slag them off and then go and talk to you and slag them off, because that's not who I am. And if you've got a problem with me being friends with them, then we can't be friends. And if you've got a problem with me being friends with them, then we can't be friends. But this happens so much, and it happens a lot in this industry that I work in. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of businesses, there's a lot of companies that wouldn't work with the United Stand because of the blacklisting, basically, where our name has been muddied. But that's not a reason why I would leave the United Stand. And I suppose I'm sort of going through the houses around here, because it's a very unrewarding experience at times. I mean, people go, oh, you're fan scammers, you take the piss, you're making money out of fans and this, that and the other. I refute this. I absolutely refute this, which means, I think refute means I disagree with this, because at the end of the day, For 2 years we did the United Stand, and I never knew anything about YouTube revenue or stuff like that. We didn't turn it on because it was always a part-time thing. And then it got quite big, and it was like, you know what, turn it on, let's see what happens. And you make a bit of money from it. But nothing's changed with what the content that we do from when it wasn't with revenue to where it is now. And effectively, look, I can't lie, the United Stand is very popular, and you know, it's allowed me to, you know, stop doing one job and do something else more permanently, and I'll always be grateful for that. But for people to say it's about the money, they don't know the half. Like they do not. For one, should people not earn money for doing something that they're good at? Like, you know, a butcher goes to work and skins a cow. I don't know whether he does skin a cow, but he chops up meat. I don't know whether he does that. It might come chopped. He sells meat, and he might be bloody good at it. Half a pound of pork, please, Jim. There it is. I'm brilliant at it. I can do it with my eyes closed. I'd rather you didn't. You might chop your finger off. But, you know, people get paid for doing something they're good at. Some people think I'm good at what I do. But what I've never said is that I am a voice for the fans, because that's not true. A lot of people disagree with what I say. A lot of people will be disagreeing with what I say now. I'm just a commentator on life. And I'm not even a commentator, because there's some fantastic commentators out there. I'm just an observer. You know, I just do videos, and people either watch it or they don't watch it. There's no manipulation. There's no intention to brainwash people to love Bruno Fernandes and dislike another player. There's no intention to turn people against other people, because that's just not who I am. There is just an intention to go live or do a video about something I enjoy, about something I've always enjoyed, and discuss it and debate it. And that's my passion, and that's why I've done it for so long, and that's why I enjoy it. There is nothing more sinister than that. I do not have an aspiration to be on Sky Sports or Talk Sport or BT Sports. In fact, you'll notice that I don't do that, and some people on our channel do. There's a conscious reason for that. I don't want to do it, really. It's not what I think fan content should be. So for all this stick I get about, oh, he's a cancer to the club and this, that and the other, most of my principles are very, very similar to what everybody else's principles are. I never wanted to do fan cams outside the ground at Manchester United. I never did. I've always been very vocal about that. I didn't want to do it. I still actually think it might have run its course. I'm not 100% sure that after COVID, when the grounds open up again, I really want to be associated with something where people come out and grab their 5 minutes of fame. And to me, it's been very, very clear for a very long time. You know, don't forget, I don't go to the ground and do the fan cams. Flex does a great job, and he's brilliant at it. But I do get the videos that get recorded. And what people don't realise is some of those videos never see public eye, because I can see it a mile off that they've waited for their chance and they're just going to go in on a certain player or a manager because they've seen Robbie do it with maybe someone off there, or we did it 3 years ago, or another United channel did it because that guy who said Moisey out did it, you know, and it sort of becomes a bit you become a bit typecast, and I'm not convinced on that, and I've never been convinced on that. However, fan scammers, you know, and I don't personally really like it. You know, I don't really watch a lot of YouTube, to be honest. There's some fantastic YouTubers out there. I don't watch it. I used to watch some stuff. They've got people on I don't like anymore, so I don't watch it. So, you know, and this is the great thing. I don't watch things I don't like. Not a massive fan of fan cams. And also don't believe in fans really being on mainstream media, because mainstream media really should be professionally scripted presenters, which is what they are, and ex-footballers who, you know, and that's the way it's always been. So I don't believe in a lot of these things that get levelled against what we do. I don't believe in them. So there's a lot of things that I've got in common with the people who actually think I agree with all of it. So it's a funny old world. And I've sort of come and, I don't know where I'm ending up here. I don't even know if I'm going to put this video up. But I just think that I'd never stop doing this because people try and bully us out of doing it. That's the worst thing you can do if you think, you know, let's stop Goldbridge doing the United Stands. I'm not going to stop doing it because people think they can bully me out of doing it, because to be honest with you, that's been going on for years, and you know, it's been a lot worse than it is now, you know, and it may get that bad again, and we still kept on doing it. That would be more of a motivator to carry on. But I do feel that there is I can't even get the words out. There is an end to me doing the United stand. There definitely is. I know what I want it to be. I don't know when that's going to happen. You know, so it could be United win the league and I'll go, you know what, you go out on top. I've had 5-6 years of doing this. I want to go and do something else. You know, I want to go and have a herd of goats on the Isle of Scilly and, you know, just walk around in overalls with a big cap, smoking a pipe. That you know, I don't know. But I do see an end to it, because I think it's so difficult to do this. By the way, it's very difficult. There's a lot of people I don't get on with in this industry because they are vile people who've made it very, very difficult for me. But I do respect what they do, because I know how hard it is to do this. I know how hard it is to be, you know, doing this day in, day out, and the criticism you get, the stress you get. You know, that's all part of it. But you know, I do always want to be honest with people, because I wouldn't be in this position if it wasn't for people like you. You know, I always think there's you know, I do like things like The Office and Only Fools and Horses and Alan Partridge. And I remember, I think it was an Alan Partridge one where it's an episode where he's doing a signing at the hotel he lives in. I think it's Jed or someone, and he's like, you know what, Alan, I've always liked you. You know, you're one of the people. You understand that your fans are why you are here now. And he goes, well, I'd like to pull you up on that. I know a lot of people do say that it's the fans who put them where they are, and that's absolutely fine. But I've got to say, I don't agree with that. I think it's down to my hard work and talent. And yeah, it does make me laugh, but I don't believe that. I think that, you know, if people don't watch your shows, if people don't understand who you are and get that, to me, I've always wanted to bring personality to what I do. I'm not massively focused on being right all the time. It would be very easy to be right all the time. I could delve a lot deeper than I do. I could just not live off raw opinion. I could take a step back, and I could be like, you know what? I just want to please the club. I want to please every player. I want to try and please as many viewers as I can, and I can just say the right things. I can go, wow, you know. I don't do that. I live off my emotions. I live off my opinions. Sometimes I'm massively insightful, and I'll talk about a player 2 years before we get him, and it's brilliant. And sometimes I'm an absolute prat, and I'll talk about a signing and say, shit, I wish we'd bought Josh King. And you know, but that's just what I do. I don't actually profess to be right. And when I see people tweeting, oh, Goldbridge is such a prat, remember where he said this, I actually laugh myself and go, yeah, I did say it. But the joke's on you, because you actually think I want to be Mr. Right. And I don't. I just want to be Mr. Understood. Not misunderstood. Not misunderstood. I want to be Mr. Understood. I've got nothing against people who change their gender, but I'm Mr. Understood. I'm not misunderstood. And that to me that's what, you know, and I think some people get it. Some people really like the United stand and they still don't understand the sarcasm, but I think some people get it. I do try to bring my personality into what I do, which is that in my life I've had a lot of bad things go on. Not as bad as many people have, but I've had a lot of bad things go on. I've had a lot of battles go on, and the thing that's always got me through is my sense of humour, having a laugh, and I try and get that across. I try and deliver that on the plate as much as possible. But also people say to me, you know what, some of your best shows are when you go live, you can tell you've had problems with the screen, you can tell you've had problems with the recording, and you're angry, and you'll just read a comment like you used to in the early days, you're a lot better now, and you'll lose your shit. And you're live, and you're just venting, and it's hilarious, because they'll start winding you up more in the comments, and you know, I like you, but it's funny when you get mad, because you just get madder and madder, and it's fun. But yeah, it is a battle. And you know, on a personal note for me as well, I've got to say, and I've said it before, everything that people say is bullshit. There is no skeleton in my closet in relation to, oh, it's not your real name. Well, we all know why it's not my real name, because I worked in a job where they said if you want to do this, you've got to use a different name. So I had to use a different name, or I wouldn't have started doing what I did. You know what? I would love to stand here and say that, you know, oh yeah, when I was 15, I was a young DiCaprio lookalike. Titanic had just come out, and they were queuing up outside the door waiting for me to come out, and I could have my pick of the village. The reality is that village I lived in probably only had about 5 people aged between the age of 16 and 20, and most of them had been with most of the other lads anyway, and looked like the horse in the field next to where we lived. So, you know, it was slim pickings, to be honest with you. And you know, jokes aside, I'm joking there. They didn't look like a horse. Some of them weren't bad, but they had been with most of the village. The thing for me is that I, as I've said before, you know, I sort of feel I was painfully shy growing up, painfully shy, like ridiculously shy, and I only really started to combat it when I was about 16. And the big way I combated it was by, and I grew up in a small village anyway, so it was always quite intimidating when you went into Nottingham or something like that, and you saw the lads with caps on and, you know, baggy jeans, and they like look at you funny, and you think, oh, you know, he might beat me up. But I've always been, you know, that's what it was like, you know, sort of quite quiet and reserved. But I think deep down, I'm not that person anymore. I don't know who that person is, because I'm not that person. Like I say, I sort of made a conscious decision at 16 that I was going to put myself into difficult situations, and those difficult situations weren't like going to fight somebody in a boxing ring. It was like standing up for yourself, and, you know, a simple thing like just going down the local pub and ordering yourself a pint at 17 when no one was there that you knew. You know, that to me would have been a bloody nightmare. I'd have been, oh my God, everyone's going to be looking at me and stuff like that. And it was putting yourself into situations that, you know, the basic situations that I would panic in. And then ultimately I moved to Ireland when I was 18, and, you know, that made me who I am today. I've always said that. So, you know, who I am today is somebody that's very confident and, you know, sure about who I am and what I believe in. But I'm still that, you know, I still relate to that person I was then. And I suppose that's really why I've always championed the minority view, really, the underclass, the quiet people, the shy people, because I think that was me growing up, and I'm very proud of what I've become and what I've done in my life way before I did YouTube, because I never would have thought it. I was only thinking the other day that the way my life could have gone, I could have stayed living in that village. I could have married one of those girls that had been around the whole village, that, you know, and I could have worked in a just sort of average job and never got out and done the things that I've done. So, you know, I think that anybody can change their situation, but I don't even know where this video's gone. I don't know whether it is therapy or anything like that. But what I would say is that, look, there will come a time when I stop doing the United Stand. It could be sooner than you think, and that is true. I think that, you know, I already feel that from being a very small channel and all the shit we had to being a very big channel and all the shit we've had, nothing's really changed in the industry. What we do is still frowned upon and demeaned by the mainstream media, I think, and within the industry that we work in, you know, you all know who the competitors are, whether it's other clubs or whatever. There's a lot of backbiting, there's a lot of backstabbing, and you can't really trust anybody, and a lot of people believe lies and spread lies. I mean, only last week I saw somebody subliminally on Twitter basically having a pop at me, calling me a grass or something like that, and I'm like, you know what, have the balls to use my name, and then let's see what happens. Because these people, I've always, not publicly, because I don't believe you should do that, but it's very easy to get in contact with somebody through an email or something, and they have emailed back, and I've said, let's meet up, have a coffee and chat this out. You know, let's just do it, because ultimately, is that not what life's all about? Instead of having these beefs when you've never even bloody met me, let's sort it out. And they've refused to do that. So, you know, if you've got a situation where somebody's constantly digging you out and spreading lies about you, and you contact them and say, let's sit down and have a chat about this. We don't need to get on, but let's have a chat. Oh, yeah, we'll do that. When are we going to do it? I'm not going to do it anymore, but I'm still going to slag you off. Well, you know, what sort of person are you? And if you've never met me, how do you dislike me so much? Is it because somebody's in your ear? So it's a very weird thing, because I've always been a problem solver in relation to my working life, and it's very hard to solve problems with people who are scared, bitter, and twisted, and not very nice people either, and backstabbers. And that's this industry. It's full of it. There's some really good people, you know, and I'm not going to name names one way or the other, because that's my personal experience, and who I think's nice might be a complete twat, and who I think's a knobhead might be an absolute knobhead, because they are a knobhead. But yeah, that's the way it is. But look, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I hope it's not made you switch off, because I think hopefully somewhere in there is something that makes some sense. Because and look, you know what, if I'm absolutely honest, I love the United Stand. It's absolutely amazing. I think it actually it matters, and it probably matters more because of the shit it's gone through. Because at its heart, it's pure. At its heart, it is what it said on the tin. And everybody tries to do this now. I look at any new channel of any new club, and it's always real fan opinion. But that's what the United Stand was, and it was in its start. We don't say it anymore, but if you go back to the stuff in the first few years, that was the tagline, because nobody was doing, like, the great thing I love about the United Stand is, and I'll argue this with anybody, is that nobody was doing live content. They weren't. It was all 10-minute pre-uploaded stuff from fan channels that were owned by a media company. That's what it was. Nobody was really doing live, and we did live because we couldn't do the high-end production stuff everyone else was doing, because we just didn't have that expertise. So we just do a live Google Hangout with a live chat. People liked it, and we grew from that. And that's absolutely fantastic how that has grown. And we've you know, I just love it. And we always used to say at the start, hello and welcome to the United Stand, or Soccer Box as it was called actually in its first formation, and say this channel is about real fan opinion for fans. And what that means is that if you come on and you say Fellaini's shit, you'll get questioned about it. But if you believe it and you can say, well, he shouldn't be a Man United player, he's not the sort of player for us, and you know, that's where it sort of started. And you know, everybody says, oh, this is for real fans now, but it's not for real fans. A lot of what people do now, it's EastEnders. It's almost like, tonight, Matthew, I'm going to come on and absolutely be vile about this manager, because you know what? It might just go viral, because it will, you know, because everyone will hate it so much. They might clip it up and say, look at this dickhead saying this about our club, but it will still go viral. And then in their next video, they'll go, you know what, he's a good manager. And it's like the heel turn in wrestling, you know. And I think there's a lot of that now. Whereas we've been very, very consistent about what we do. And other channels are, to be fair. But yes, I think I've gabbled on a lot. But I would, you know, I don't really see myself as the United Stand. I know a lot of people say, well, you do most of the content. But that won't always be the case. And I would like to do... You know what? If Martin Scorsese rang me up and said, I've got a film for you with DiCaprio, it starts in Alaska for 8 months. Unless that's got Wi-Fi, I am off. You know, there is stuff I would go and do. And I'll always be honest about that as well, because I don't want people to think that the United Stand to me is the be-all and the end-all. It's been amazing, and I absolutely love doing it. And I love the community. And you know what? I might stop doing it and think I want to come back and do it, because I love what it is in its most purest sense. It's fans interacting with each other and talking about something they love, and there's so much passion out there. And it's allowed me to do stuff like this. It's allowed me to do FIFA and stuff like that. But there are certain things that if people said, do you want to come and do this? I'd be like, I'd try my best to be able to do it. And if it meant, you know, not doing the United Stand for a bit, I probably wouldn't do it. But what I would say is there's not an amount of money that would make me go, oh, I'm gonna stop now. Because that's just not me. You know, I know some people, if you said there's £100 million, but you've got to stop doing everything you do and retire, some of you are going, I'm definitely going to do it. But for me, that's just not how I work. You know, £100 million, I could get the car I wanted. I could have a football pitch on my lawn. I could have a snooker table, darts table. I could have everything. And every morning I could wake up with, you know, food and drink and activities that I want to do and places I want to visit. But you know what? It wouldn't satisfy me there. It wouldn't satisfy me there, because it's just recreation. Recreation to me is just, you know, it's something that you enjoy doing it when you get a chance to do it. I'm a creative. I want to create. I want to do things, and that's always going to be there with me. So I'm not going to ever just go, oh, there's a load of money, and that's unlikely to happen. I bet I'm going to stop. That won't be the reason, because I've never done anything for the money. To be honest with you, if I was money motivated, I should have stayed in my last job, because by now I'd be on, you know, 6 figures. And that's not a lie, I would. So, you know, it's not about the money. It's about the creation. I always wanted to write books, and maybe one day I will. That was the thing I wanted to do. I wanted to write scripts for movies and books. And, you know, I've got loads and loads of those. And if people want to see them, I'll tell you what, I'll read one out on the next show. I'll read some scripts and stuff like that, because I've got them. And you'll go, they're shit. They're as bad as he's singing. But that's what I wanted to do. And I've always been a creative. That's what I want to do. And, you know, the United Stand and this and everything has allowed me to do that. I love cooking. I love the Cooking with Goldbridge stuff. It's a great laugh. And I love everybody who loves what I do, because I love what I do. And so that makes sense. You know, some people say, oh, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. Do that. But I genuinely do love everybody that loves what I do, because I love what I do. And if people like what I'm doing when I'm liking doing it, that's great. And I'm grateful for people who love it and get it and understand it. And for people who don't watch it. It's as simple as that. Don't watch it. Do you like Piers Morgan? Do you like bloody any, you know, do you like The One Show? Do you watch Songs of Praise? Probably not, because you don't like it. And that's what it's all about. We're not. And the most important thing is, as I said, with these people, the worst person is the backstabber. The worst person is the person who tells lies about you to other people so that they don't work with you. And the worst person of all is the person who listens to those lies and decides, I'm going to listen to that lie without actually speaking to that person and finding out the other side of the story. And the world's rife with those people. And they're the worst three kinds of people. The best kinds of people are the people who hate what you do, but have the maturity and class to contact you, or you contact them and they give you their time. You have a chat and you realise, actually, you're not bad, I'm not bad. Let's discuss your issues and our issues, and we might be able to find a way forward. And you know what? I'm having those conversations all the time. I'm having those conversations all the time about, you know, we don't like this about what you do. We're not doing it anymore. Or could we do it this way? And, you know, it's amazing how people dislike what we do, but don't watch it and just listen to somebody else saying this is what they do. And, you know, I had somebody say to me the other week, why are you always slagging Ollie off? And I went, I haven't said anything about Ollie for over a year. And so that's not true. Oh, I've been told that you're always slagging off the players and the manager. Not really. When we play badly, oh yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. If they play badly, they deserve it, yeah. But when we do well and we're heading in the right direction, no, not at all. All right, you know, see what I mean? Anyway, I've blabbed on for a long time. I don't even know if I'm going to put the video up. If I do, I hope it makes some sense. If I don't, it will just get deleted. Thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you soon.